Hello and welcome to this week's Tech A video. It's Monday the 8th of October 2007. First of all, we're going to start off with the CAC. As we can see with the CAC, it's actually managed to break through a resistance at around about 5,700. There was actual bullish engulfing candle which suggested that this was a clear break rather than anything that was being tested previously. What we have is the market slowed down quite a bit from there, which is not so surprising given that we've got this bullish engulfing candle, then we have a break, a sort of gap in the market, and then we have these very thin markets. What this will suggest around about 5,800 is that we're likely to get a support now at that. These three little candles here, these doji-like candles here, would signify, being that they're all at pretty much the same point, is that this could now become a new support. So if we put a support line at 5,800, what's likely to happen from now for a short while is we're likely to get a relatively tight consolidation between 5,800 and 5,900. We need to see what happens over the next few days, because from Friday that was relatively bullish, quite not overly strong, but relatively so. And looking at the intraday market, which we can quickly peek at, we can see that it's actually quite a thin market again for today. So it's not going to be, there's no huge moves. Certainly there's, the early market always moves quite a lot. But as it's panned out throughout the day, it's 1 o'clock as I record this, it's gone relatively flat. So we're likely to see a similar candle as to what we saw, not on Friday, but certainly before that. So that would point towards the support being at 5,800 certainly, but also a tighter consolidation within 5,800 and 5,900 for the short term. So that's the CAC 40. Moving now on to the DAX. DAX has moved incredibly well since we last looked at it. There is support at 7,800. We're now coming up to a point where it's going to test support at 8,000. The markets have gone crazy the last few weeks, considering that the underlying market conditions really haven't changed that much. Very strong resistance at 8,000. If we have a quick peek at the intraday market for today, which is Monday, we can see that it's trying to test the 8,000 resistance. Market open just above 8,000, dropped straight back down beneath it, and has tried to test it once again, but it's failed and is bobbing up and down just beneath that. So that proves to us that there is now a very clear resistance at 8,000. What it could also suggest is we could possibly get a retrace. If we get a very thin candle for today, shows that, by thin candle I mean anything like this that we've got here. If we get anything like that at that point, there's a possibility that could retrace. We could only really tell that for the following day if we get another thin market, but going on what we've seen previously with the CAC at the same position, it has retraced quite considerably. Combine that also with the underlying market conditions, and there's a recipe there almost for a retrace. So that's the DAX. Moving on now to the ever popular Dow. Dow is at an all-time high again. This is the crazy market conditions at the moment. 13,600 we have a support. If I can put that there properly. Hold on. So we have a support at 13,600. We have another support just here, which is probably around about 13,800. It's trying desperately to break the 1,400 mark and stay clear of it. That was our last major resistance. It did break it just last week and retraced back down. There is a possibility, a very strong possibility, that this has now become support. If that is the case, it's an amazing about turn as to what's happened just in the markets the last few weeks. And And it really just doesn't make sense as to why the markets are moving in this direction. Technically, we can see that that it is that we're getting these breaks using the fundamental data. Just fundamentally, it just doesn't make sense, and that's why sometimes, and a lot of the time, fundamental data is almost ignored on a technical way, in technical terms. And as we can see, the market conditions are driven by the market sentiment, and the market sentiment's very bullish at the moment, despite what fundamentally is there in the background with the subprime market and a lot of problems with credit and what have you. So that's never going to go away. It's just that the market conditions are almost seeing the fact that as long as it's not really bad news, it's got to be good news. So let's carry on regardless. So the Dow looks to be at a real key point. There's a support now at 1400, which was a resistance. Need to see today if we get that. Likelihood that we're going to get a very thin market on 1400, but it's incredible. A friend of mine who's also an analyst noticed that there's also a small cup and handle. Now cup and handles are points where there's likely to be a breakout, where we get sort of, there's the cup, the handle, and then from a handle you get a real takeoff point. It's like a launching platform almost. So those of you that are really into technical analysis, I suggest you take a look at those. It's a very small cup and handle, but needless to say, it is there and looks to be forming. So it's a very strong bullish indicator, a cup and handle. So that